in terms of VR, like there's going to be like that's going to unlock a new kind of broadcaster. Like right now, it's like this top-down. You're watching them kind of control. In VR, you're going to be able to go through like even being a player, a type of player where people can see through your perspective. That's going to be an interesting way to view.
What they're trying to do is like this fundamental limit to what's happening in football. It's like you're putting these cameras everywhere and you're following them around and trying to get closer in different angles. And when you have VR, it's like that all of a sudden just elevates where on the receiving end, the cuts that I'm going to get is not going to be one shot to another. It's going to be like different perspectives, right? Like I'm going to go from seeing what you're seeing to what the other player is seeing or what the arena is seeing or like you're just going to have like a very different viewpoint. I don't even know what's going to happen, to be honest.
I mean, we kind of have that with Counter-Strike where you can click through and stuff, but it's going to be better and different in VR.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is kind of like switching the topic, I was at a game developers conference talking to somebody who works at HBO, and we were just talking about from some division that works on Game of Thrones, and we were just talking about like, well, what if Game of Thrones did VR? And he said, like, we've talked about this, like, this isn't going to happen with Game of Thrones, but this could happen with another series ultimately in the future when VR is out there. It's not just like watching the show. It's like we could have you subscribe to the show as like a fan and you're paying $10 a month to that show or something. And now suddenly the show is kind of like a startup. It's raised a bunch of money. And now we can pay these actors and actresses to be there professionally all the time. And like you might as a viewer kind of be always checking out like what's going on in Game of Thrones, right? And things you'll see happening in the world. Maybe you can zoom around and check things out and watch. Maybe we'll have little scenarios that you can participate, like, oh, there's a battle, pick a side.
Like maybe every week Game of Thrones on Sunday stops, but then during the week I can, like, everything's paused and I just go check out, oh, here's what's happening at the Wall, here's what's happening in Castle Rock, here's what's happening over here,
Yeah.
and I just can check it out, see what's going on. Oh, Jon Snow's still over here, he's doing his thing, and, you know, like, is there still, like between the weeks, if I'm a super fan, do I get access to kind of, like,
I mean, like, right, I watch a lot of reality TV, as we all know. This has been a thing for a long time, right? Like, I can watch Big Brother. I watch the best 1 hour of all the week's footage.
Yeah.
It's great. But there are people who watch literally, they have a house cam. They can literally just go click into any room, watch and listen to the people living in this house. They're actors that are paid to be there 24/7, so you can access it. Very few people do because it's just not that interesting, right? Like, same thing, like for VR, you got to create content.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
But VR gives you the difference, right? Like, people are boring, right? It's like watching all of poker. Like, you can do it. Just most hand you fold.
Right. What if I could do an in-app purchase and like I could kind of break through the fourth wall
I
and I
just
could
think-
go hang out with Jon
I just
Snow?
think all of this content will be created, meaning it's not only going to be that the content for Sunday will be created. There'll be Sunday is a major piece of content. Then there'll be throughout the week these minor pieces that will be.
It might be like
as
the Renaissance
important.
Fair where like you have these actors walking around and then like you're a fan, you're at the Ren Fair and you're like, hey, what's up, Jester? And like they actually interact with you and you're like, cool, you're still in character. That's pretty dope. And then like there'll be this element where there's this larger meta story going on, which is the Game of Thrones. And like you're even more jazzed about it because you've been hanging out with Jon Snow and now they got a big battle going on. You're like,
Well, it won't be you hanging out with him, right? He's not going to individually...
Maybe.
No.
Like, a real person's not going to individually interact
But
with every...
why does he have to be real? It's VR.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's a
this
real
was the
actor.
conversation I had.
Correct.
Like,
What I'm saying is like you could actually make
Yeah,
it
of course.
interactive. Like,
This is what we were talking about, like, video games are kind of like movies now.
Yeah,
And
there's this-
basically movies will have, like, a more interactive part to
Correct.
them. There'll be, like, a hybrid thing, which is basically like, yeah, I put on this thing and I'm basically in the game. I'm a character in this. Now, maybe the game is not like, pew, like shooting something. It's not.
Right.
That's not what the game is. The game is me being a character of Game of Thrones, going through the story of Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Right? It's a movie, but I'm a character in it. And, like, sometimes I do things that are physical, but most of the time it's really just understanding the story.
Yeah, you're seeing the story, following the story,
Right.
interacting with it.
There's this great app called The Wolf Among Us, which is DC Comics made one of their first sort of like serious kind of like Watchmen style comics that was completely interactive, choose your own adventure, where it's a game, you're playing it, but it's an amazing story, and you can affect the trajectory of the story with game-like elements, but it's just like most of it's kind of on rails, and then you kind of like change based on the decisions you make, and it just definitely feels like this is what a comic should be. Like, yeah, there's like a static story, but this is totally what a native mobile app, should do to comics.